You're listening to The Bird Bath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. We've got quite a few interesting stories this week from all parts of the industry, kind of a full smattering, so buckle up because we've got some cool things here. First off, though, I want to hit on a new bill that was passed in Florida covering some important things around pet insurance. Now, a lot of you know that pet insurance is one of those things that's continuously struggling, I guess maybe is the right word, to find the right foothold. But Florida House Bill 655 was just signed into law last week by Ron DeSantis. And the bill, which is known as Pet Insurance and Wellness Programs, establishes a comprehensive regulatory framework for pet insurance in Florida, and the goal was to enhance consumer protections as well as ensuring the transparency in the market, which Florida deems or sees as something that's going to continue to grow. There were a few different provisions within it, one which more closely defined the property insurance aspect, which is one of the big hurdles for pet insurance, but the fact that pet insurance is property insurance. And Florida obviously has had a lot of issues over the past 4 or 5 years with property insurance. Additionally, it requires that pet insurers give an extremely clear outline for the pet parents to understand what sort of things are not covered, where the disclosures would be, what the sort of chronic conditions that wouldn't be covered, as well as trying to come up with an idea for policyholders to have more protection. So policyholders under this new law will have a 30-day free look period where they have 30 days to have their insurance, explore it, make sure that it's the right fit for them, and then refund it for no penalty as long as they haven't made any claims. They also in there put that the burden of proof for exclusions on pre-existing condition lies with the insurer as opposed to with the pet parent. And the insurers now as well are also able to put in a waiting period for certain illnesses, diseases, or orthopedic conditions for up to 30 days, but they can't impose those waiting periods for any accidents that might happen. The other thing that I found really interesting, and all of this starts next year, so if you're in the space, you've got a little bit of time before January 1st rolls around next year, but they did also talk about wellness programs. So the bill stipulates that wellness programs cannot be marketed as pet insurance, that the purchase of wellness programs cannot be a prerequisite of obtaining pet insurance. Wellness programs must be very transparent and distinct in their policies from what they cover in pet insurance, as well as that the advertising of wellness programs, and this is still obviously leaves a lot of space, but they cannot be misleading. So wellness programs are kind of put in the same bucket here, or more so isolated from the bucket of pet insurance. But it seems like Florida's trying to do some things to put some guardrails around it or to try and open up the transparency of pet insurance, and perhaps that will allow more people to dig into it. Now, another thing that's going to allow more people to perhaps get more excited about pet insurance is something that Pumpkin just released. Pumpkin Pet Insurance introduced a new urgent pay service that what they say provides real-time payments for situations where timely processing is important and cost of treatment is high. So their new service, which is called Pumpkin Now, allows their eligible clients to receive direct payments for up to 90% of veterinary expenses in 15 minutes. It's something you have to be additionally qualified for as part of your plan, and you have to have a bank that allows instant or real-time payments, but you can receive up to $1,000 right off the bat in 15 minutes after you submit a request. So one of the big hurdles for insurance is the lack of pre-approvals and the ability, and many times, to have to sort of float the expense until the insurance company comes through. So it seems like Pumpkin Now is something that's going to be looking to tackle some of it. Trupanion's been off something, I believe they call it Trupanion Express, but nice to see that another company is jumping in and trying to tackle what has been a nonstop difficulty in the pet insurance world. Now, from looking at where insurance was to where AI is taking us in the future, the Veterinary Innovation Council has released their AI guidance paper. They broke down two of the primary modalities of AI that people are utilizing in clinic, which is in scribing as well as radiology. The paper didn't slice out or offer endorsements really of specific tools, but what they did talk about was the needs for veterinary oversight and the importance for veterinarians to continue to collaborate and participate in both the development of as well as the outputs of different AI tools. A lot of the language in the radiology section mirrored what we had seen from the ACVR in the, I guess it was earlier this month. And just the idea that these are obviously tools that people need to use, but like I always say, you're not handing a scalpel to the robots yet. And it's something that is really important here. So one of the things that's important to think about when looking at the radiology side of things is that these are tools to help drive more positive outcomes. They're not tools that exclusively cause more positive outcomes. So it is a tool for people to be able to participate with. It's important as well, obviously, to have human expertise, as well as keeping in mind where the costs are for these sort of things. It's important to see if the AI view or getting an AI read is within the wheelhouse of what you're looking at. I did take a bit of a different skew, having some experience in this space, that I think that the AI utilization as a first blush for radiology is something that's extremely cost effective and can actually be a way to improve the quality of care and timeliness of care. We were talking about just in the previous story, right? The ability for someone to be able to pay sooner. Well, if we can get that ability for AI to help us understand if a read needs to be done on a 24-hour basis or if a stat is necessary, that not only can help us reduce the cost of care, but it also can improve the speed at which that care can be delivered. So a little bit of a discrepancy from where I see things and where they saw things on AI radiology, but a well-written paper and one that guides people into understanding questions they should ask while looking at it. Now, on the AI scribing side of things, there's obviously quite a few of these tools. There's different nuances to what each one does. They did their best to break down some of the differences here. They put together a list of quite a few questions. I do think the questions perhaps were a bit more robust than a single practice would need to look at when reviewing their utilization of an AI scribe. I know the authors well of all of these papers, and I know that they all have more opportunity to dig into some of these things than what might be reasonable or possible for each individual practice. But it is a wonderful paper to review as a guidance to help you move forward and understand how you can utilize AI in your business. So I'll make sure I link it here. And thank you to the Veterinary Innovation Council for putting together this guidance paper to help people at least begin that journey into the AI space. Taking us a bit out of exclusively the veterinary world, we've got an update on a story that everyone was talking about at the end of last year, which was Patterson Companies. Now, Patterson Companies obviously works a lot in the dental space, but they have a major animal health and veterinary component. Well, Patterson Companies completed their sale to Patient Square Capital, which is a large healthcare focused investment firm. The deal, which was approximately $4.1 billion, represented a great premium for shareholders at Patterson. They completed the acquisition and are fully privately held company and no longer listed on the NASDAQ Global Select Markets. Patient Square Capital, if you're not familiar with them, is a massive, massive firm with approximately $12 billion in assets under management. And the goal here is for them to take this partnership and continue to grow in the healthcare space. So the dental space for one part of Patterson's world, as well as the animal health space. Along with this change of ownership, there is a new CEO announced, Robert Rajalingam, which Robert, 1,000 apologies if I mispronounced your name here, but I'm doing my best. Robert joined the company. He has a really deep and extensive background with Cardinal Health in their medical distribution side of things. So great to see some new folks joining, if tangentially, into the veterinary world. So congratulations to everyone at Patterson for completing that deal. I know that was a big thing that was on the agenda for a while. Now, one final sort of story here, and then there's a couple other things I want to hit on, but one final story that I think is really important for people to keep their eye on, stay abreast, listen to the story, as well as check out our Substack. I dove a little bit into this a couple weeks ago on the Substack, which is the CMA's investigation into the British veterinary sector. The CMA, which is the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, similar to the FTC that we have here in the US, they have been investigating prices as well as the consolidation that's happening in the UK. And one of the big things that we're seeing as we're waiting for these reports to come out is the companies are already starting to do some maneuvering and movement of where they're allocating their funds and where they're looking to consolidate and grow their business. One of the largest groups over there, CVS Group, has actually decided to sell all of its crematorium business. And the goal, what they say, is to reinvest that money in Australia, in many parts due to the regulatory pressures that they're feeling in the UK. You know, investors and companies, if they don't feel like they're going to be able to control and move their business in a way that they want to, move their money out of the country a lot of times. And the growth of the market in Australia and the availability of opportunities for consolidation is still very, very fresh in Australia. CVS did a pretty big investment into the Australian market in the past couple of years, and it seems as if they're continuing to add what they said additional firepower for selective investments. CVS in their statement said the capital recycling is expected to be value accretive to the group in due course and allows CVS to focus on its core veterinary and diagnostic service while continuing to provide high quality end-to-end client service. They have one more note with it. They said, although the recent working papers provided some comfort that the CMA would not be taking any action to impact the relationship between first opinion practice and crematoria operations, this transaction removes any residual risks. So people are always taking actions with the thought of what might be coming or what they're fearing. And it seems like the divestment of the crematorium business in the UK is just one part of that. So just a little plug here. Check out our Substack. I hit on all of those working papers. If you do any business in the UK, or if you're looking at the UK market for some data, they dropped a massive amount of data about what the consumers are doing, where people are spending money, what the consolidation market looks like, and it's all there and it's publicly available. So be sure to check that out. Now, if you're looking for a way to bring some additional positivity and some additional positive communication to your company, there is some great news for you. Flourish Veterinary Consulting has launched a RACE-approved certificate in cultivating positive team communication. The really cool thing about this is that word, team. They're launching 2 simultaneous tracks. So there's a leader track that allows people to work on shaping culture from the top, and then there's a team track to allow everyone to amplify their voice. This 6-month program comes from science-backed skills, conflict management tools, real-world practice with graduate-trained instructors like Josh Weissman, as well as Andy Davison. And the neat thing here is if you're in a practice, you have the opportunity not only to have the leadership as well as the team going through courses simultaneously and building teamwork and team efficiency and communication while thinking about the same thing, but also realigning what your company is using. It'll help teach you languages to use and terminology so that you're all pushing in the same direction. It reminds me, not directly, but the idea of when I've worked with some of my consulting clients, if we work on trying to bring in parts of enterprise operating framework or the traction methodology, if you are just bringing that in from 1 or 2 of the leadership teams and trying to slot it into the entire organization without having this multi-pronged approach, or as they use it in Flourish Veterinary Consulting, they call it the 2 simultaneous tracks, having teams going through the same courses that are tailored to each of their needs and approaches allows them to be able to learn the same language that they're both speaking, as well as moving that forward. So really cool program here. If you want to save some money, you can enroll by May 9th, and you can get free textbooks as well as 10% off by using the code PAYITFORWARD10. I'll make sure I put a link to the course in the show notes, and be sure to check it out. Finally, we're only a couple weeks away from two actually really interesting events. First, in Boston, Massachusetts, May 14th and 15th is the Animal Health, Nutrition, and Technology Innovation event put on by Casaco. You've probably heard a lot of people talk about it. They call it Anti or Casaco Boston, or the Boston event. But it's a really cool opportunity for people across the entire animal health segment that are thinking about nutrition, thinking about innovation, thinking about technology, to all come together. They've got an incredible group of speakers that are covering everything from nutrition, things that are happening in practice, consumer trends, communication with clients, AI, obviously, and a lot of incredible things. So it's definitely something to make sure that you can check out and sign up for. There's a code if you want to sign up for that. BirdBath10 will get you 10% off the anti-event. And so make sure to use that code BirdBath10. And then finally, and I know I'm just loading you guys up with stuff, but there's an awesome symposium that Cornell is putting on for the second year. The Symposium on Artificial Intelligence Veterinary Medicine. They call it SAVI. This is SAVI 2.0. It's just that following day, May 16th through 18th. So go to Boston, go to Ithaca, New York. The Symposium on Artificial Intelligence in Veterinary Medicine is put on with some incredible companies, as well as some massively bright people. One of the hands down smartest people I've ever met is Dr. Parminder Basran, and Parminder is going to be there. He is someone that, if you want to learn about AI, you should ask him. He's brilliant. And the event is supposed to be spectacular. I wasn't able to make it last year, but I heard nothing but great things. And so I made sure to put it on the calendar this year. So be sure to check out the event in Boston, and I'll put a link in the show notes, with Casaco, as well as Cornell's Symposium on Artificial Intelligence in Veterinary Medicine. And if you don't remember any of that, just subscribe to the Substack. We'll have all the links to these, as well as all the show notes. And you can always join us by subscribing and rating the show. For the Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.